I want to change the dress code because it makes our female students extremely uncomfortable. Like with me, for example, all summer and the majority of my high school years, I've worn shirts that are spaghetti strap, that show my stomach, that are off the shoulder, and it makes me feel confident and it makes me feel happy. But when you're put in a setting where you have to constantly hide that, for some reason, although you've been so confident in it for so long, you feel ashamed.
I think there needs to be a clear distinction of what girls should wear and can wear, which is comfortable based on their own on their own level of confidence, not having to worry about what other people think, specifically male people. Because the school has set guidelines or has implemented guidelines which have restricted girls from wearing what makes them comfortable and levels up their confidence because we have to worry about distracting other people and our classmates, which is something that I think needs to be addressed.
My opinion, I have talked with several students. My opinion is that discussion is worth having.
Welcome to the second episode of Time for Change. I'm your host, Christopher Rodriguez. If you currently don't know what the dress code is, this is what it is. For the sake of time, please pause. And I hope you watch the entire thing.
This one is personal for a lot of people. We're talking about dress codes here in Metro Atlanta, and the reaction to them is pretty strong. There's one specific middle school that's part of the APS district that has changed part of their dress code. It was actually done by a group of students who wanted to modify specific things in their dress code. And there's two things that they're talking about that are upsetting some people. One is the length of shorts. The other is how long your shirts have to be if you wear leggings.
How long have you been teaching at Norda Vista?
I have been teaching at Norda Vista. I think this is my 12th year, I think.
Your classes are predominantly female, yes?
Yeah.
How many boys would you say is in each of your classes?
I would say on average, probably 3 to 6 per period.
Does it ever seem like boys in your class have been distracted by female attire when it's too revealing?
No.
Did you ever have to dress code one of your students? If so, what were they wearing?
I don't think I ever have had to. It's never really been a big issue in my class. I've been lucky.
Why do you think the AUSD administration puts a rule about a female student showing a portion of her belly or her bra strap?
I don't think it's just limited to outward. I think this is sort of a just common policy across high schools. I know when I went to school a million years ago, we had a dress code policy that was very, very similar to the one that you see right now in 2021. But I think there's a lot of reasons that it exists, and it is, distractions, having the kids, be appropriate, not wanting to offend people, and there's a lot of reasons why it exists.
Last question. If you were able to change the dress code, what part of it would you change and why?
I haven't examined it in detail in a very, very long time. I know that there is some sort of older language about things like piercings, tattoo, hair dye, makeup, some things like that maybe need to be revisited. I also think, too, we need to just sort of look at maybe current fashion trends and what's more socially acceptable now versus when it was written, and see sort of what maybe we need to let kids wear. More than anything, I think we just need to keep offensive language or messaging like that out of the classrooms. But otherwise, I don't know. I think we just need to focus on making sure students show up to learn and are ready to go and, interact with each other.
How long have you been working here?
This would be my 3rd year teaching at Norte Vista.
Have you ever dress coded a student? If yes, what were they wearing?
I have not dress coded a student in my time here.
Have you witnessed a supervisor or another teacher dress code a student?
Not in like a dramatic way. I have heard like from across the quad, you know how you hear shouts at lunchtime. So I've heard kids get called out for like wearing a hat or something. That would be the main thing that I've heard. Yeah.
Why do you think the AUSD administration cares so much about a female showing a portion of her belly or her bra strap?
Again, I would say my feeling is that it's a lot of the dress code rules relating to like the way that female identifying students dress are rooted in like more old school ways of thinking. So I think that a lot of the dress code rules that are currently in place were likely made a long time ago and they just have never been revisited. But yeah, I don't know. Part of it could be that they want students to dress more like professionally, like how you might dress to get a job. And then part of it could just be subjective. Like you already mentioned, that maybe they don't want the females to be distracting to the boys. I don't necessarily agree with that, but I think that is probably a lot of the reasoning behind why some of those rules were initially made long ago or whenever they were initially made.
Do you think the dress code is in place because it distracts boys, like for example, showing a shoulder?
I do think that initially, whenever the dress code rules were made, that was probably something that was taken into consideration, or that was a reason for justifying some of those dress code rules that are more geared towards female students. Yes.
Last question. If you were able to change a part of the dress code, what part of it would you change and why?
Good question. I would say that I personally, I do think that a lot of the rules are kind of geared towards female identifying students, and that can be seen as unfair, and I don't disagree that it is unfair. I think we live in a really hot climate too, and that if a girl wants to wear like a thin strapped tank top or like a crop top, I don't think to me that that's a really big deal. I think that personally, that drawing attention to it is making it worse than it would be if we just didn't worry so much about it, you know? I also think hats are not a huge deal unless they have some logo on them that could be kind of misconstrued, I understand, as like gang affiliated, but hats in general, like just like a plain beanie or something, I don't really think it's worth causing a stir over it, you know? A bummer for us, you know? And I feel like now it's coming back as like students are more like fighting it again now, and a lot of it maybe has to do with the fact that like fashion trends have like recycled, and like crop tops are popular, and like all these things like that maybe 5 years ago girls just weren't necessarily wearing crop tops and stuff because it wasn't really fashionable at the time. But now, like if you go to Target or any store and you go to buy something and you're a female, it's like that's just what's for sale in stores right now. So I think it like keeps coming back. It's like a cyclical thing. Like it came up when I was in high school, it's coming up now again. And it's just like because the fashion trends like recycle. And so whenever that happens, it's like we ask these questions of like, well, why does it matter if I'm showing my belly? And I also think a good thing recently is that like there's been a big movement towards body positivity, and like especially for females, there's been just like a big popular movement towards like self-love and self-care and body positivity. And so I think that's a really good thing, and that is another part of what's causing the dress code to be questioned a lot lately.